You are watching a clip from the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Baker Mayfield. We'll talk about him first because I have a feeling this is going to be. I think this might be a conversation we have we might go a little more in depth in, and I would like to know what other people are thinking out there. If anybody's listening yet, if anybody's listening, I'd like to know what other people feel about Baker Mayfield and his comments with Hue Jackson and his. The handshake, Hugh went and sought him out. This is a guy who was looking to draft him, wanted him, believed in him, and there's something there. I don't know if that's going behind the scenes or whatever, but there is no love lost between Baker Mayfield and him. So I'm going to play a quick clip from Baker Mayfield in his post-game press conference, and I want to hear what you guys have to think. I mean, I'm sure you've already seen it, but I want to play it anyway.
No, what it comes down to is we still have the same players. That's what I said when everything was happening. We just had to play better. You know what? You can put your own spin on it, but we have the same players. Yeah, we have people that we believe in calling the plays now.
With him, PC, was it a scene?
Whew. So I mean, he starts off by saying, "No, not at all. It's not Hugh." But we have, when that but comes, it's like, but. We have a guy who's calling the plays now that we believe in.
People we believe in calling the plays now.
And we have the same players that we had before.
And the same, right. First of all, my take on this whole thing is I absolutely, positively love it. I love it.
You were going to go that route.
I love it. And the reason why I love it, and especially the handshake thing, is because I can't and this is going to come out horribly when I say it. I can't stand all this sportsmanship garbage. I really hate it. Guys liking each other. I especially despise it in baseball. I used to hate so much when Derek Jeter would get on base against the Red Sox and, maybe he'd get a double and he'd be sitting there joking around with Dustin Pedroia. That stuff drove me bonkers. Hue Jackson going in for the hug yesterday and Baker Mayfield friend zoning him was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I loved it. I don't want to say I hate sportsmanship. That's not the way that I wanted that to come out. But I love competitiveness and rivalries, and I don't like guys hating each other. And I like what Baker Mayfield said afterwards. He said, look, this guy was on our team. He was let go. He went to the enemy. We have to play him now twice a year. I'm not hugging this dude. I have no problem with that. I love that. And I like Baker Mayfield in general. He's the kind of guy I wish was the Dolphins quarterback. He's got moxie. He's a little bit arrogant. But you know what? If yesterday is any indication of what we think this guy might be, when he's got a good coaching staff and a little bit of talent around him, and he looks like he's got a legit running back and a really legit tight end, and he just, what he needs is he needs another receiver or two. I like Callaway. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say they're going to regret getting rid of Josh Gordon, but it really would have been helpful if he was still there. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, that guy is probably one receiver away from starting to make Pro Bowls. I have no problem with the way anything went down yesterday. And if you're Hue Jackson, I have no problem with what he did either. He got fired by the Browns.
He did sound like he had a lot of options.
No, and Marvin Lewis was like, I'll hire you. If I were Hue Jackson, I would have done the same thing. So, my point is here, I have no problem with, either of these things. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with Baker Mayfield not wanting to shake that guy's hand. And obviously there's some bitterness there. There were some things that clearly went on in that locker room we don't know about. And, mm-hmm. and it will probably never come out in its entirety. But I think you're seeing, little drips of it here based on Baker Mayfield's reaction. But I also have no problem with Hue Jackson leaving and going into Cincinnati. There's no traitors here or anything like that. It's a job. It's a business. Yeah. And I would have done the exact same thing that Hue Jackson did. If I was sitting there, I was unemployed, Marvin Lewis called. Because here's the other thing with Marvin Lewis, too, is that, not that he gets to handpick his successor by any stretch, but there's a good chance Hue Jackson takes over when Marvin Lewis leaves after this year. I don't know. And I don't know that it's something I would do if I were the Bengals, but there is an absolute possibility of that happening.
There's a chance, a small chance. I think small.
I have no problem with this either way. I don't mind a little competitiveness. I don't mind a little bit of gamesmanship here. And I have no problem with Baker Mayfield not liking Hue Jackson. I really don't, because I'm so tired of all these guys playing nice in the sandbox with each other in sports. It drives me bonkers.
It's really weird, though, when you're throwing shade at a guy like that who believed in you more than anybody else in the league.
I mean, you know what? From Baker Mayfield's perspective, he's not there anymore, and he went to the enemy. I have no problem with Baker Mayfield feeling the way he did. Listen, if this was Michael Jordan would find the most unique and ridiculous ways to motivate himself.
Yeah.
If Baker Mayfield needs to find some kind of motivation, who are we to tell him no?
I would get nervous, though, in the game of football, because in basketball, it's different. They can't come and they can't go after your knees. They can't do all – like in this game, they could – you could tick off the wrong people, and then something gets said in the locker room, and now you have a bullseye on your back.
You know what? 9 out of 10 times, I feel like something like this, I probably
rookie.
would say that this was a mistake. This was not, not a classy move. Just try and be classy. Maybe Baker Mayfield's got some growing up to do or whatever. And that is probably also the case. But in this particular case, I really don't mind it. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the fact that he didn't want to shake that guy's hand. This is still competitive. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the old school me, because I don't love all of this handshaking and hugging after games and hugging, talking to guys when you're playing or patting each other on the head. I hate that crap.
Yeah.
I hate that crap. When I played baseball, even though it wasn't, I didn't talk to the first baseman when I got on base or talk to the second baseman. I didn't like them.
Yeah, but
I was trying to beat them.
But there wasn't a chance that he was going to be on your team in next offseason.
I never. Yeah, I
so
know.
It was kind of funny.
You know what? It's just listen. It's a different era of athletes. Yeah. I get it. They're all millionaires, so they're not like nobody's fighting for anybody else's money. I mean, these guys are all getting paid. So, it's just it's a different era.
For instance, one of the teams that we used to play a lot when I was in high school was Norwich Free Academy, the NFA. We played them quite a bit.
Old NFA.
Yeah, we played them a lot, and there was a player on that team that I could not stand. His name was Ken Plant.
I was going to say, I want a name.
Yeah. No, I'll say, and I absolutely detested him on the other side, because the way he played, he was hard-nosed, it looked like he was like a dirty player. But then, as luck may have it, I went to college, and he ended up being on my team in college. And you know what? After a little while, we became really good friends, because we both played the game very similarly, and I found out that he hated me too.
There you go.
So it's one of those things that, when you play the game at a certain level and you don't talk to the end, I mean, but there's also a point where you're kind of like, you know what, those are the kind of players you want on your team because of how they act. Yeah. Because they'll have your back no matter what and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you are. So that's how I felt going in. So there is a thing where it's like, yes, it's a competitive thing. On the other side, you don't really know how much you would like that guy or not if you played with them. So and going forward, if I saw him, if we ended up being on different college teams, later on, and I saw him and he was at third or something like that, or playing, and I got to third base, I'd probably say, "Hey man, what's up?" Yeah. I'd still want to take him out on a slide in third, and I wouldn't care about it, and he would do the same to me. It's like
I just know when I played baseball and any kind of organized sport, I mean, unless it's like flag football on Thanksgiving morning, I mean, that's different.
You're not taking people's knees out?
No. But when I was just really I just wanted to beat the other. I didn't want to talk to them. Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with them.
I do understand. Yeah.
I just, we've talked about this before. I always channel my inner Thurman Munson, and I always think, what would Thurman do? That's what WWTD.
Punch
what would
people
Thurman?
In the face.
And I just, I look at and I know it's weird too, because I didn't grow up in the Thurman Munson era. Right. That was a little bit before me, because he was in the late 70s and I was born in the late 70s. But I always admired the way he handled himself. To me, he was the one true Yankee captain. That's why you love
people like Jorge Posada and Tino Martinez.
Right, I did. I did love guys like that. Yeah. Yes, I did, because they wanted to go out and win.
Your favorite, Hideki Matsui, he did not play the game like that. He was very quiet.
No, but he was very quiet and classy, and
yeah.
he could kill you in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was my ultimate all-time favorite, Ricky Henderson, who was
obviously,
the greatest trash talking. You know, third person referencing clown of all time. But
so the one thing that I wanted to mention about continuing with the Cleveland Browns game is Damarious Randall. How he stuck it to Hue Jackson by giving him the gift of an intercepted ball. That, to me, was hilarious. Like, that I found hilarious. I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, if you are Hue Jackson,
a little bit. I mean, look, there's some
and he took the ball and he's just going to, like, put it on the ground.
Yeah, and he sort of, like, put it out to the side. But he tapped Randall on the head, though. I actually think that was more of a lighthearted gesture than obviously than the Baker Mayfield thing was cold and a little uncomfortable to watch.
But I will say, you're probably right with as far as like the people in the Cleveland Browns clubhouse, the locker room afterwards, they're probably all like fired up because their quarterback said that out.
Without a doubt, and they should be. They should be, because the quarterback's the leader of the team. And I just have no problem with the way any of that went down yesterday. I like Baker Mayfield now more than I did yesterday, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
I really do.
All right, that might be leading us to our next question, our next topic here, which is which quarterback do you want most to win a Super Bowl?
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have just watched a clip from Sports and Sorts, where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday on YouTube. Thanks for watching.